welcome to Gallatin Truck Life. I'm Sarah and my husband Marcel and I live with our 3 kids in this massive house track in New Zealand. When we sold our Auckland home for Truck Life, the idea was to move to the South Island onto my mum's farm and use it as a base to come and go from, working and travelling our way around the country, but we actually are not travelling as planned. In this episode, I'll explain why that is, and also how living in a house we can move and not travelling has actually been a blessing in a time of crisis. But first, Marcel gets a bit crafty and fixes one of Beast's wing mirrors that has been broken for a long time. We continue on our fitness journey with an extremely windy walk around the Kokoda Peninsula, and this is what happens when you haven't moved your house truck for 4 weeks. Marcel hasn't walked the Kokoda Peninsula yet, so he and I set off for a wee adventure. Turns out we went our separate ways though because, well, I didn't like it. So it's really dumb, I know, but I chickened out of going around there because it is massive surf and there's some freaky massive waves crashing against the rocks, and it's still 2 hours before high tide and I don't want to risk getting caught in that. I have got caught in the tide once going around the peninsula when I was a kid. We got stuck and had to wait for quite a while, but that was before the earthquakes. There's been so much uplift, they reckon you can walk around the shoreline at high tide now around the peninsula, but it's a really massive surf and those waves are coming a lot closer to shore than what they usually do at high tide. So yeah, I chickened out. Marcel kept going and I'm going to go around the cliff top track to probably Whalers Bay and wait from there. These waves don't look that big from up here, but they are actually massive. Marcel said they didn't really come too close to the track, but it just made me feel a bit yuck, and I'm a bit of a wuss, so yeah, I'll stick to the cliff top track. So windy. So I seem to have misplaced my phone. Might have fallen out of my jacket pocket somewhere along the track. I took my jacket off at the top of the cliff top, rolled it up, put it in my bag. I don't know where I put my phone or if it's just fallen out somewhere, but anyway, I was gonna message Marcel or call him and tell him I'll meet him at Whalers Bay at the top here, but I don't have my phone so I can't call him. So not only had I lost my phone, I had also lost my husband. He may have already gone that way, but I doubt it because it is a lot further. I put my jacket on before it became a victim to the wind and then decided to wait for 5 or 10 minutes to see if Marcel would show up before retracing my steps up the cliff top track to try and find my phone. So I've got no idea if Marcel's gone back the way he came or if he's gone around Shark's Tooth behind me here. So I don't know where he is. Probably give it another 5 minutes and then head back up the hill. Funny, there's someone coming that way and I think it might be him. Man, it is so cold. There's even more snow on the mountains, middle of summer, and it's just wintry conditions. Here it comes. I guess he couldn't get all the way around.
On the point.
Shark's Tooth.
Well, that
one in front, the three.
Over
yeah.
here. Like a whole heap of seals are there, so I can't get up. So Marcel and I have gone our separate ways. He's carried on the cliff top track round to South Bay, and I'm going back to the seal colony Point Keen to see if I can find my phone and take the car around the other side to pick him up. going off and I can hear it. But I have honestly looked all through this bag. What the frig? Ugh. There was a hidden compartment that it must have fallen into.
If you're following our fitness journey, Marcel has lost 6 kgs now and I have put on a kg. Whoopsies.
I'm gonna make that look like that with that.
Interesting, for the wing mirror.
To hold the wing mirror, yeah.
This wing mirror actually broke quite a while ago, so it's good Marcel is getting it done before we head away to the Nelson area for a couple of weeks.
It's actually going hard already. I can't squeeze it now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bad,
It's
bizarre. So what is this stuff?
It's
Multi-purpose, need
needed.
it. Cool. Oh.
In about an hour it's about to be drilled, which I don't need to drill, but I might get a bit of sandpaper and just make it smooth-ish.
So this would be like real super hard.
But I've just created a ball.
Pretty cool.
That's done. Still got to give it a bit of time though before I can work it, but I've just created a knob for that wing mirror to go over.
Cool. So you had to sand it down a bit.
Got to fine tune the shape.
Awesome.
Okay, so Dad's putting on the new wind mirror.
Oh, it's the old one.
The
Got
old,
on the-
the old one that broke off.
So we haven't moved this for a little while. And battery could be flat.
I'm not going anywhere.
Huh?
I'm not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. I said this first time that's happened and you said no it's not. Implying that you've got it started before or?
No, it's jump started from something.
Oh, okay. Oh, I might as well fill up the water anyway.
Yeah.
Woo! So that's a bummer. Beast has to be jump started. Oh no.
You're gonna eat something. Why do you need to eat something? You got enough in your belly to keep you going for a month. Another guy.
Is that where the battery is?
The guy we know is our mate Charlie from church, who brought around a jump pack.
Well, it's gonna. How dead are they?
They're just not.
Not quite.
No.
No. You give it that little bit of extra. Just enough.
Marcel and the kids took Beast around to Point Keen, which was where we were at the start of the peninsula walk we did earlier in this video, to give the battery a good run because
We are going to South Bay for a couple of nights.
while they're doing that, let's talk about why we aren't travelling full-time like we originally intended, and why owning Beast has been such a blessing during a scary time for our family. Don't Beast's mirrors look so much better with the fixed one? As I said at the start of this episode, when we made the huge decision to sell our Auckland home, we planned to travel down to the South Island and use my mum's farm as a base to come and go from on our travels around New Zealand. It took us a bit to get here on mum's land, but now we are getting our base set up. The thing is though, when we arrived in Kaikoura, we haven't really left nearly 2 years later. The first reason we stayed put is because in our first year of owning and living in Beast, our long-term savings took a bit of a hit. We had to upgrade our solar, replace 8 of Beast's tyres, repair the generator and fit a new door as the old one smashed against the side of the truck in a strong wind gust. We also had a lot of other repairs and maintenance, which all adds up. When we first moved into Beast in June 2022, Marcel continued to work at his job on a part-time basis, and he did that for 5 months before leaving his job, and then we hit the road. We headed to Northland for a couple of weeks before heading south of Auckland, taking our time and stopping in places along the way to hit Wellington and sail across to the South Island. It costs a lot of money to fill a truck like this, so just travelling alone was expensive. We don't regret selling our house for this life, but it definitely hasn't been as easy on the pocket as we thought. Marcel ended up getting a job 3 months after leaving Auckland, and we stayed in Kaikoura through the winter. We didn't move onto Mum's land straight away, I'll talk more about that later, but instead we rented a bit of land to park on north of the town. The following summer we left for the North Island for 2 months to visit family and friends and of course to explore in our home on wheels a little more. This meant no income once again and expensive fill-ups. After the trip, we once again arrived in Kaikoura and stayed put to earn and try and save more money. The second reason we aren't travelling is that opportunities arose and plans changed. We have loved being a part of the church that we attend in Kaikoura. Marcel was asked quite early on when we arrived in town to run an evening service at the church. We get together for a potluck meal and share with each other and get to know people in the church and the community better. We discussed this and at times things got, we could say, a little heated. As I pointed out that we weren't meant to be staying here, but just coming and going from the town while travelling and working in different places. But Marcel felt like this was something he wanted to do, so he committed to it for a year and has loved facilitating this gathering. And finally, we actually like being parked up. To be honest, when we got back from travelling after our last North Island trip and moving from place to place every few days, we actually both felt a bit relieved to be at our rented land again. As much as the idea of living on the road and exploring appeals to us, we like to have a base. A place to park up and slot in with the community we are in. It's also been great for the kids to be near our South Island family and be part of things that we couldn't really do on the road. I think when we do finally travel and live full time on the road, which we definitely still want to do when finances allow and the time is right, we need to just take our time and not move too often so that we don't get too stressed with packing up to travel all the time. Now before we end this video, I want to talk to you about a time of crisis for our family and why owning a house you can move and being here in Kaikoura has actually been a blessing. I'm not going to tell you what happened or who it involves out of respect for the family member and their privacy. Some of you watching will know us and know what has been going on, but I'm just going to talk to you about why being here and having a home we can move has been such a good thing when we have been needed and want to be around in a difficult time. We were able to move our home to the property where we were able to be close to the situation and help when needed with the person involved. At one stage, on a day we had to call an ambulance, I was able to call out to Marcel, who was in the truck by the house, and he came running over to help. When Christchurch Hospital was needed and some of my family members and I were basically living at friends and family's places while the person was in hospital, Marcel was able to park our house at my sister's place where he could go to work and the kids could be looked after by their auntie and at times their adult and teenage cousins. He and the kids actually brought Beast to Christchurch for a couple of nights, which was such a cool thing to have the comfort of my home when feeling a bit lost and ungrounded with what was going on. After a while it went to just doing stints in Christchurch for 3 to 4 days and then coming home while another family member went down to be with the person. Then we would cycle it around where I was driving back to Christchurch once a week or so. I have some awesome friends who let me live at their house during this time, which was so good. Thanks so much again, Shayla and Scott. So the person is back home now but still somewhat unwell. Us Galicians and Beast won't be hitting the road full time anytime soon, as we want to be here to offer help where we can and also continue to work and save some dollars. We finally moved Beast onto my mum's land, which means we don't rent land anymore. Not that the previous landowner charged us much, but it is still nice to be rent free. You never know what life is going to throw your way. We don't regret selling our house, like I said, even though things haven't exactly happened how we planned. That's okay, and it has been so good we were here when things got hard and help was needed. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Coming up, we're about to hit the road for a couple of weeks to head up to the Nelson Tasman region for the Music in the Mountains rally and to relax by the river, which will be our first trip away in quite a while. We'll see you soon.